Well, good morning, friends. Father Frank Pavone here, National Director of Priests for Life. Welcome to our morning program where I'm going to present to you today's election challenge for action. You might see a little seal here that I'm wearing. This is the I voted sticker, and that's what I did this morning. Did early voting here in Florida together with our Executive Director, Janet Morana, and it was a great experience. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along in the conversation here. I'm going to give you the daily election challenge, and we're also joined by Brian Kemper from Ohio. He heads up Stand True, our youth outreach ministry. And Brian, how are you this morning?
I'm feeling good, Father Frank. I'm not realizing 2 days ago that I would be in quarantine right now.
You're in a little bit of quarantine. Tell us about that.
Well, I had dinner with some friends and last week, and one of them had not been feeling a little well, but was fine. And then we found out that her and her husband both tested positive for COVID. So I immediately had to go into quarantine. And Father Frank, I'll tell you, the thing that relieves me the most is that I already voted. We're this close to election day, and I'm thinking to myself, I had plans. I had stuff to do this weekend. I was going to go golfing. I was getting ready to come to Florida to do some work with you. We were going to record stuff in the studio. All of that is changed instantly in one phone call that I received. And the most important part of that, though, is what if I hadn't voted yet? What if I hadn't been to the polls yet? And I just thank God that I went early to vote. And I just wanted to, that's why I said to you this morning, I want to encourage people. You don't know, with everything that's going on right now, you don't know what could happen, what could come up. If you are able to, go to the polls and cast your vote now.
Yes, that's right. And can bring a friend. You know, if friends go together, it makes the whole experience even nicer. And if there is a long line, this morning I only had to wait 15 minutes. But if there is a long line, you know, it makes it more pleasant. You talk and so forth. And Brian, we were talking with people this morning. Two guys ahead of me in the line. The guy was wearing a Trump hat. The couple behind me, they were both for Trump. He had a Trump hat. He's standing there with his hat. Somebody comes by, looks at him and says, "Trump all the way." And then we went inside and somebody had a MAGA 2020 mask on. And then when I finished voting, I came out and there was this gentleman came up to me, "Father, I want to thank you for voting for President Trump." He must have overheard me talking, you know, before we were voting. And he explained that he has never voted for a presidential election in his life. And he came out today to vote for the president, for President Trump. So, I mean, it was beautiful, right? Beautiful.
I brought a friend to vote with me, and she had never voted before either. It was her very first time voting. She posted a picture on all her social media talking about it. And it's an important thing. There are a lot of people who never voted before who are realizing the importance of that, Father Frank.
And these are the kind of people that Donald Trump attracts. And you know, like I explained after the 2016 election, 6 million out of the 63 million that voted for President Trump the first time around had never voted before or hadn't voted in over a decade. So they were basically lapsed voters. And but the way he appeals to the common man and woman in America, the way he as a non-politician speaks to the concerns of America, motivates a lot of these people to vote who are tired of the establishment politicians. And this is the phenomenon that we're seeing again this time around, I believe even more strongly. And they're the ones that are, see, the reason that the polling is often so wrong is these are the unlikely voters. You know, the best of polls, they take a look at the likely voters. But these people that are coming out for President Trump are the unlikely voters, along together with a whole bunch of other likely voters. But you see the point I'm making. He's attracting people that come out of the woodwork and vote for the first time. So
I'll tell you, Father Frank, I think that part of this too is where they're polling at. Like I drove to Indiana about a week ago, went about a 2-hour drive into the heart of Indiana from Ohio. and we took back roads. And honestly, Father Frank, it was like driving through a Trump parade. Every single farm, manufacturing. We're talking the working man and woman of this country, the people that are driving the trucks, the people that are growing the corn and the wheat and the soy, the people that are dairy. We went through a big dairy farm. You had to plug your nose when you drive through. But what we saw were giant Trump signs on every single property. And you know what?
Right.
These are the people that are out in the fields working. They're not being asked questions by pollsters. They're not in the city. But this is America, the heartland. These are the people. You're not going to have your milk. You're not going to have your eggs. You're not going to have your fresh vegetables. You're not going to have any of this on your table without.
These are the people. These farmers. I mean, these are the people to whom President Trump sent $28 billion.
Yep.
From China, instead of China taking our money, now they're giving it back, and they just had made the biggest order ever of corn and soybeans that they're purchasing.
I dare someone to drive through the heartland of Ohio, Indiana, through these back roads. I'll give you $1 for every Biden sign you find, because you're not going to find any.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, well, Brian, let's give our people the daily election challenge. Folks, as you know, dailyelectionchallenge.com is a special website we've set up now, and every day it's an action item. We challenge you to take some action. Here's the one for today. The one for today is to volunteer to make phone calls to voters in these final days before Election Day. This is something that the Trump campaign is doing. Every campaign does it to one extent or another. And voter-to-voter contact is the name of the game right now. It's crucial. The campaign has been breaking all the records doing this for more than any other campaign has ever done. They've had 150 million voter contacts and counting. But friends, you can help. Help is needed. Everything is there for you. You get trained. You're given the people to call. They're pre-selected likely voters. And here's what you do. It's a special website that you go to called trumptalk.gop. trumptalk.gop. And the challenge is, if you feel inclined, you make the calls right from the comfort of your home. And again, they'll give you all the training and instructions that you need. You go to trumptalk.gop and you sign up. If for one or another reason you cannot be making calls yourself, the challenge then is pass the word along to some others you know who might be willing to do so. We all know somebody that we could at least suggest it to. So that's the action item. That's the challenge for today. Step up to the plate, because, this makes the difference. It's turnout. It's not necessarily convincing someone of anything, because people may be quite already in agreement with us on the issues and even on the candidates. But, the value of a voter-to-voter phone call, this is all about getting out the vote. It's an encouragement. It's a reminder. And when someone receives a personal phone call, it's like, wow, they thought enough of me and my vote to reach out and encourage me to vote. It's all done in a very nice way. And Christian, thank you for putting that up there. trumptalk.gop. Go there, friends, and send others there. And let's make this final push these next few days. It can really make a difference. So, Brian, it's a lot of encouraging signs, and the president continues to have rallies today. He'll have 2 rallies today in the state of Arizona, which is one of the key states, not only for the presidency, but for the U.S. Senate. And I want to encourage our friends to watch those rallies. They'll both be in the afternoon, and we air them right here on these channels where people are watching now.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on, Father Frank. And like I said, anybody, if you have the opportunity today, as soon as you can, get out there, cast your vote. Your voice matters. You don't know what could happen tomorrow. I thank God that I went and voted early, but I encourage everyone to get out there and vote.
Brian, while I have you on here, share with our people who are viewing now the idea that we've discussed over the years. You brought it originally to my attention, the idea of Be My Vote.
Well, Father Frank, I have 7 kids. I have 3 grandchildren that can't vote. And my kids ask me all the time, Dad, what about this? Dad, what about that? And they're concerned. Dad, what happens if Joe Biden wins? And they're thankful that I vote. Do you know how many young people are out there who don't have a voice, who want to see things like the end of abortion, who want to see things change in our country? For every one of those young people that aren't ready to vote, if you don't feel that pushed yourself, what about them? What about them? Go out and be a voice for them. Be a vote for them. I just think it's, Father Frank, it's like if somebody handed you that winning lottery ticket and you threw it in the garbage. You're throwing away a vote. You're throwing away something that I believe is that valuable. It's not money, but it's that valuable, Father Frank. Imagine winning the big jackpot, lottery ticket. You have it in your hand. I don't want it. Just throw it in the garbage. Nobody could imagine doing that. I believe our vote is that valuable, and I think that's something that everybody needs to think about and needs to get out there and be a vote. Do you have kids? Do you have grandkids? Do you have somebody that's going to be affected if abortion is pushed that far to where it's just the most common thing in our country? I'm sorry, you don't have a right not to vote. You got to vote.
And we had that video of Janet's grandson saying, what is he now, 8 years old, I think, and he was saying, I want to vote for President Trump, but I'm not old enough to vote yet, but I want to vote. He said, it was so nice because he filled out a piece of paper like a ballot. He said, if I vote for President Trump, and he's 8-year-old boy, and he says, I'm going to vote virtually in an imaginary election where I can vote for the president. So it was so beautiful. So that's the idea, all these young people saying to the adults, hey, I can't vote, but you can. So please make sure you vote and vote this way. The other thing, too, one of the comments that we had coming in earlier this morning said this. We saw a lot of this yesterday. People are wondering if they voted early. And then they saw, remember, we were arguing about the presidential debates. We were arguing that they should have been pushed up earlier. Mm-hmm. And President Trump's campaign wanted to do that. So because so many people are voting early, it's like the final debate wasn't until the 29th of September. And it was like, come on, I'm sorry, not September. That was when it started. The third one wasn't until the 22nd of October. And it was like so many millions of people had voted already. And so now some people are saying whether it's because they saw how well President Trump did in that debate, or whether it's because they're hearing all these news reports now about scandals with Biden. And they're saying, hey, can I change my vote? If I voted early, but it's not yet election day, could I go change my vote? And the answer is usually yes.
In some states, you absolutely can. You could go in and change.
And if anybody has the feeling that they want to do that, call your board of elections. That's the best advice. Go contact your board of elections where you voted and say, listen, I changed my mind. What do I have to do? And by all means, that is so important. If you have that, if you're so inclined to do that, then get the help, check with your board of elections. And it makes sense that you would be able to
I wouldn't tell them that you want to change your vote to Trump. Just say, I've changed my mind and I want to revote.
Yeah. You don't have to tell. Of course not. Yeah, you have to tell them who you're voting for. So good. So, all right. Well, thanks, Brian. We're going to get on with the day. And those that join us for Mass, we'll have Mass about a half hour from now. And we'll be broadcasting throughout the day. We're broadcasting the Trump rallies. Alveda King comes on live this afternoon at 3:30. I'll be coming on tonight at 9. And we'll have a great day, again, reaching out, mobilizing voters. Go to dailyelectionchallenge.com, friends, not only for today's challenge to help make phone calls, but also check out the ones from the previous days, because they are all things that you can still do. Thanks, Brian, once again. And for all of you, may the Lord bless you with his Spirit. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Father Frank Pavone here, and Brian Kemper from Priests for Life. Talk to you soon.